up, good people? It's your boy D. I'm back with you again with another episode of the DA Experience. I got a couple of reviews for you today, mainly because my baby sister, hi Morgan, hi Quinn, they came into town this week, and I've been spending a lot of time with them, and I didn't get a chance to go to the movies last weekend, and I didn't get a chance to go to the movies this weekend. We had a lot going on, it was Memorial Day weekend, but here it is Monday, and I'm finally got a chance to go to the movies. I got a chance to go on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, so I'm gonna give you two reviews today. First, I got Deadpool. Everybody loves Deadpool. And second, I got Solo, which from what I'm hearing, a lot of people didn't like too much. All right, let's get right to it. Deadpool 2 is the follow-up to the mega hit Deadpool that came up about 2 years ago. Ryan Reynolds had been pushing for this movie for years, and he actually appeared in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was not well received. Then he moved on to Green Lantern, which was not well received. He also did BPRD, which was not well received. So it looked like he was not having a good track record with comic book movies. But he's always said he's wanted to play Deadpool, and every so often you get this person and this character that are completely and utterly made for each other, and in Deadpool 1 we saw that. It was a smash hit. The plot of it was a little weak, but he more than made up for it with his humor and the comedy inside of it and the way they shot the movie. Into Deadpool 2, they felt they had to follow it up, sequels, more money, more time, more plot, everything like that, and we got a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed Deadpool 2. I was laughing through the entire thing. This one is a more focused plot. It's actually a better plot. It got a lot of character development. We didn't just see the humorous, crazy side of Deadpool. We actually got to see his softer, sadder side and how he uses the humor to mask a lot of that. All the characters got some great moments in this. We got an introduction for Domino, as well as Cable, and even X-Force. We saw some characters that we never thought we would see on the screen, like Shatterstar and Bedlam, and there was a lot of thrown in this movie that I enjoyed. It kept me entertained the entire time. If I had to say anything I would gripe about it, is that there were some pacing issues. Sometimes there were just scenes where he was just standing there in a Deadpool costume. Yeah, he's cutting jokes, and there were a lot of jokes, not a lot of jokes, there were a few, very few, that just didn't land the mark. But maybe because we saw it a couple of days later, we didn't get that initial crowd to have people laughing. I was snickering and stuff, but my sister and her husband weren't snickering too much at things. But at the end, they told me that they laughed a lot and they found a lot of it really funny. I highly recommend going to see this movie. If you like the first one, if you like this one. What I did like is that it still has the crass humor. It still has the violence, but it wasn't as violent as the first one. I don't know, to me it wasn't anyway. It was straight up gory in scenes in the first one. This one, they kind of shot around it, but there was still some stuff that happened. It's like, okay, if you got kids that are Deadpool fans, just be aware that there is some language in this movie. There is some sexual humor in this movie. And there is a lot of violence in this movie. But lots of the scenes will just have you laughing so much you won't even pay attention to it until the very end. I hope they go forward with the series. They set up nicely for sequels in the future. So definitely go out and check Deadpool 2. Check it out, see it, do all that good stuff. Now we're going to go on to the second review of the day. Solo. You know what? Something's not right here. Much better. Get my shit right. Okay, so on to Solo, a Star Wars story. This is pretty much the origin of Han Solo, who's probably one of the most, not just Star Wars fandom, one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. Originally played by Harrison Ford in the 70s, and along with Indiana Jones, a lot of people grew up on this character. He was pretty much the definition of cool if you were a sci-fi fan, which a lot of us are that are here to watch this movie or have become over the years. He's got a cult status when it comes to him. And because of that, I knew going into this movie to go in with no expectations whatsoever. I don't care what his backstory was in the comic books. I don't care what had been mentioned here and there over the last 40 years. You had to go into this movie with an open mind. Trust me on this. If you went in there expecting anything, you were going to be let down, and you were not going to like a lot of things about this movie because they changed some stuff, or this was different or that was different. One thing I've noticed over this year, seeing as many movies as I have, you have to go in with an open mind and just let it all be out there. Just enjoy the movie for what it was, and I did. The movie was a lot of fun. I liked this movie. It had a lot of great characters in it. You had Woody Harrelson, you had Thandie Newton, you had Amelia Clarke, you had Paul Bettany. It just, you had Donald Glover playing Lando Calrissian, I think I got it right. Who's one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters in itself, and he nailed that part. Everyone else in this movie had everyone had a great story in this movie. I enjoyed the action, had a lot of great action scenes. It was pretty much the Western of the Star Wars universe. If Rogue One was the heist movie, this is the action movie. My main qualm with this, which I think people, and the reason they didn't like it was they didn't find the right person to play Han Solo. I never connected with this character. But that might be more to do with the origin movie thing. We already know, if you've seen the first three Star Wars or you've seen the new Star Wars, you know what happens to Chewie and Han. So even when they're in these dangerous situations and stuff's happening, you don't ever feel danger for them because the fact you know they make it out of it if you've seen the later movies. So watching this, there has to be a good story, and they definitely delivered on it. Ron Howard directed. A lot of people know him from like Apollo 13 and a few other movies. He's a pretty big director. This movie already had some shaky ground going before. They had to fire the first two directors they had because they were making it more into a comedy, and that's not what Disney or Lucasfilms wanted. So they had to kind of start from scratch, and they made something that I enjoyed. The music was great. It sounded like a Star Wars movie. It looked like a Star Wars movie. The only problem is the guy playing Solo. Here's the thing about that. I don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know his name. I couldn't even tell you right now. He was okay, but I never connected with him as a character. And when it comes to somebody like Han Solo, you have to be the epitome of cool. You have to have a certain vibe to you, which is why everybody has always identified him as their favorite character. Well, everybody else. I've never been the hugest Han Solo fan. I'm more of a Boba Fett guy, which is the movie I would have rather they made, but you know, whatever. Down the line, maybe it'll happen. Here's whatever. They even set up for some nice, hopefully some nice Easter eggs for Star Wars fans, hopefully leading to something down the line if the movie did well enough, which I think it did this weekend, even with all people's gripes or whatever. It should still get a sequel. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're all expecting the guy to play Solo to be like Harrison Ford. And maybe he's supposed to grow into it and become it. A lot of times in these origin movies, you get, oh, how this happened when they mention this in another movie, or how this happened, how this happened. And they had a lot of scenes like that. So you had to circle all that around while having this interesting plot and have this adventure going on in the background. I look forward to seeing more from this neck of the universe. But going forward, if Disney and Star Wars or Lucasfilms are going to want to get anybody else to see the movies, they're going to have to go in a new direction. They got to move away from the Solos and the Skywalker family. They need to focus on a different group and give us some new characters in these universes that we can identify with, because they have the stories there. This showed it. They had it. This was a great story. I laughed throughout it, but everybody else just overshadowed the person that was supposed to be the main character, and it just left you feeling a little flat in that sense. I say go out and see the movie, see it for yourself. Right now, I'll rank this probably sixth in my Star Wars movies, maybe fifth. You know, it's Empire, Star Wars. For me, A Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, then probably Return of the Jedi, and then this, and then the prequels. So, I mean, say that what you will, is sixth or seventh, but and when you got 9 movies, something's got to be on the lower half. And while I love the story, I just didn't love the character they had playing Han Solo. There were some scenes that I could say got a little boring, and I wish they had pushed them a little faster, because the movie is about 2 hours or 2:15 long. And there were some scenes they could have cut out, but you know, left for the next one or next for the sequel or whatever. But if you liked Star Wars, you'll love this universe. You might not love the guy playing Solo. So if you're a Han Solo fan, I would say avoid this movie, unfortunately. But if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, you don't know a lot about his history, but you are a sci-fi fan and love that spacey adventure type feel, go and check this movie out. So this one's already running a bit long for me, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope to see you all at the movies next time, and here's hoping this is a good one. Peace!